Hello, everyone. I'm Dondi. Looks like we have everybody filing in. I'm from FloraCraft. FloraCraft that makes foam. We have our craft foam and our floral foam. Our craft foam is white, just because it's a blank base for you to use. And then we have our green foam that we're going to use today. And the best thing about our green foam is it blends very nicely with the greenery. So it kind of camouflages back there. Recently, FloraCraft started making our own foam, and we've taken coat hangers, clothes hangers from the retail market that usually end up in the landfill, and we're recycling them back into our foam. So our foam is now more earth friendly, which is great for everyone. So today, this is our 14-inch extruded wreath that we're using today. And I am going to show you a few items that I put on this wreath. All of these things are from Michael's. I found right in the seasonal aisle. And I think, yep, maybe our overhead's better. So the first thing I found was this beautiful white frosted magnolia. Has a couple of leaves on it. If you can't find a frosted glittery magnolia, you can absolutely glitter it yourself, flock it and glitter it yourself. We're going to use some of these, this greenery. It looks like maybe a cedar, like a cedar pine. Has a little bit of flocking on it, a few little berries here and there, and a little bit of fine silver glitter. Again, if you can't find a branch exactly like this, although I did go on Michael's this morning and online, all this stuff is still available. So you're going to need 4 of these pine branches. And then I found these little picks, and I picked these up just because it's another texture, another color, just to add interest to the wreath. It's all wired. It's flocked. It has that same fine silver glitter. So you'll need 4 of those. And then I found these wispy Pinecone sprays, and they're flocked a little with a little bit of silver glitter. And you'll only need 3 of those. And if you're working along and making this with us today, be sure to post your finished projects on to hashtag Make It Michaels or hashtag FloraCraft so we can see what you've done. So another few materials you'll need a good pair of wire cutters. You'll need some greening pins. These are just greening pins, U-pins, U-shaped pins, and a low temp glue gun. I found this one is Craft Smart brand. Just make sure it's a low temp glue gun, because a lot of times the high temp gets so hot that they will melt the foam. Jordan, can you plug this in for me? That orange one right over there on the floor. Sorry, guys. All right, to get started, I'll start with these pine branches. And all you're gonna do, there's 3 parts to these, so all you're gonna do is just cut them off the branch, because we wanna use them individually. So, let's just tear off. I'm gonna go ahead and get all these ready. So we're just cutting the 3 individual branches off off the pine stem.
Dondi, are those branches wired as well?
Yes, they are. They're wired all the way through. So we'll be able to bend them and shape them around the wreath.
Looks like they cut pretty easily with your wire cutters.
These are good cutters, and yes, the stem inside, the wire inside the plastic coating isn't quite as thick as some of them can be. So for me, I like to start my wreath with my focal flower, just so that I can build around it. Just because if you build the whole base with green and then you go back in and try to put this flower in, it just, to me, seems like it's sitting on top of everything. And I kind of like it to look like it's built into the wreath. And you can go ahead and pull these leaves off because we're going to put those where we want them. So we're going to cut this about maybe 4 inches. And this one's a little stronger, but if you rock that back and forth, it'll pop off of there for you. So all I'm going to do is just take and bend that stem so it's bent right sideways. And I'm going to lay that right inside the wreath like that. And that's where you're going to put your pins, right in there. So we're going to put our pins in. I don't know if I can see. There we go. We'll do it that way. And I'm going to add like 3 pins just because this is kind of a thick stem. And then once you get them in there, my glue gun's not hot yet. But once you get them in there, you have your 3, and then I would just go back and just squirt your glue. Oh, it does have a little glue. Squirt your glue right underneath the stem and right in between your pin. And that way it locks that pin and that stem to your foam.
Dondi, do you have any tips for inserting the pins so they don't go through the back of the wreath?
Well, normally they would pop through because they're a little bit deeper than the ring is long or wide, but because the stem keeps them up a little bit, they don't pop through. But on some of these other ones, I'll show you on these thinner stems that to make sure that it doesn't poke through to the back of your wreath, you'll want to put them in at a slight angle so that they don't, you don't want them scratching your door or anything when you get it on your door or on your wall. So that's where I want my focal flower, and that's where I'm going to start building from once you have that on. And then we're just going to take these branches, and it doesn't matter if it's a longer branch or a shorter branch right now. Just going to take it and give it a little bit of a bend so that it's the same arch as your wreath. And we're going to lay it right on this outside edge. Starting right where your flower start, or right under your flower. And we're just going to pin a few pins to hold that first one in place. One at the end, one in the middle, and then maybe one right here at the end again. That'll just keep it right tight to the side of the wreath, so it'll lay nice for you. And take another piece. You can see how they're built. There's kind of a back side to your stem. So that's the side that you want to lay along your wreath. Give it a little bend, slide it up, and then sometimes you can even take the same pin if you haven't glued it in yet and slide your other end right under that same pin to hold that end, and then glue them together. And just go back in, like I said, and just squirt a little glue right under the stem, in between the stem and the pin, and that just locks that pin in place. All right. Another one here. And you might not need it in the middle, just kind of however you think you need it. Give it a little fluff. Grab another branch, find your back side, curl it a little, slide it right in with that other pin if you'd like, or add a new pin. And again, we're just going right around the outside edge of the wreath. That way when it's on the door, you're not going to see the edge of the wreath. It'll all be greenery when you look from the side. Nope, and you'll just add a little glue wherever you put a pin in. Just squeeze a little glue between that stem and wreath and pin and lock them all together.
Dottie, for this next one, if you could show like a close-up of pinning the stem onto the foam. I don't know if you could hold it a little closer to the camera, just to show how it goes on an angle.
Sure. So we'll lay it on there like that. We've already made our little arched, our little bend in the wreath, so it'll, or in the stem, so it'll lay nice on your wreath. And then, so your pin, so you're just gonna pin it right over top so it straddles that stem and slide it in. And these pins are back in the floral department on that back wall there with like all the stem wire and tapes and well, in Michael's that I go to, it's back along the back wall with like the fillers and vase fillers and stuff. Do that again. A little bit of an arch so it fits the wreath. Lay it in there.
Are those berries that are popping off?
It's unbelievable how many fall off, and yet you'd never know that you were missing any. There's still so many left on the branch. So we're just going to straddle that stem with the pin, put it in a little bit of an angle, and slide it in. And then once it's in there, you can go back and add a little glue under that pin, kind of between the pin and the branch, just to lock that pin in. And if this is indoors, I mean, I don't know that you'd have to pin it so many times. But if it's on a swinging door where it's going to jiggle a lot, I would definitely glue the pins in. So where's everybody watching from today? Is anybody watching from somewhere warm? I can't see too far away, so we have to have Jamie tell me.
Looks like Southern California.
I like the sounds of that.
I know that sounds pretty nice. Boyd's, Maryland is another viewer. Snowy Cleveland. Brr.
They're kind of with us.
Oh, wow. You have a viewer from Madrid, Spain.
All right. Beautiful.
Florida, Massachusetts, Indiana, North Carolina, Texas, Arizona, all over.
Nice.
80 in Texas. Just rub that in, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice and cold up here.
That's all right, though. That's okay. We get 3 months of warm.
Oh, good. Patricia's with us. She says it snowed today in New York, where she is.
Okay.
We don't have snow, thankfully, right this moment, but it feels
We've
like
kind of been in trouble with the snow, New York. I've gotten a lot of it. All right, so we have a ring all the way around the outside. That's going to cover the whole outside of our ring. Now the inside or the face of it, we're gonna do another row just like we did the outside, but we're gonna go around the face of it. So you're gonna look at the back, and instead of curling it to the back, you're gonna kind of curl it to the side. So make a little arch. And then you'll start again right at your flower and start pinning them on.
Daddy, how many wreaths have you made at your career at FloraCraft?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. A lot.
Thousands.
I think probably thousands, yeah. So then just like you did on the outside edge, you're gonna start, bring it right up to the end of the last one that you pinned on and just continue to cover the front. The fun thing about making your own wreath is you can pick whatever color. I mean, Michael's has gorgeous pre-mades. I mean, I was looking at all their pre-mades while I was there shopping, and yummy. I mean, really, really pretty. Just the only reason that someone wouldn't want to buy an already made wreath from there is like color or style. You know, maybe it doesn't have the ribbon you want, or maybe, oh, if they just wouldn't have used red ornaments. Or so this way you can buy whatever you want and make it your own. So for those of you that maybe joined a little late, all we've done is we've taken our pine boughs and we've clipped them from the stem. There's 3 branches per stem, so we've cut them all off individually and we're using them all individually. So first thing we did is we pinned all around this outside edge of the wreath. There are, let me count for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 or 6 branches that went around the outside edge. And then now we've started at the flower and we're gonna fill in this front face of the wreath. Looks like we have one little guy here. We're gonna put him in at the end.
Well, that's a good idea. Patricia says that she goes to Michael's and looks at the pre-mades to get ideas and then makes them herself.
Absolutely, yeah. They're beautiful. And there's so many. All right. Looks like we made it all the way around to our flower again. And all of this stuff kind of sticks together. So if it's looking like, wow, that's kind of sparse, pull this apart, because whatever they use to glue the berries and the glitter on, it kind of stuck the pine together too. So you really can fluff it really nice if you just go through and pull apart all those little pieces.
Johnny, do you still have one of the branches that you haven't cut apart to show what it looks like?
You know what? I don't think I do.
Okay.
But it was like this. It was really long. It's on quite a long stem. It's like on a 28-inch, probably 28-inch branch that I found that I cut off.
They are artificial. They are not real leaves, even though they look real. Very realistic.
They are artificial, yep. Michael's seasonal department, I found them in. So then these last couple, I'm just gonna take and put on the inside edge. I don't really need any right here by the flower, but I'm going to put one. You know what? First, let's put these leaves in because then we'll know exactly what we have to cover. So for the leaves, I just wanted them both to be on this side of the flower. So I'm just going to pin them, or you can glue them. It'll glue right into the pine. I'm just going to pin them both right off to the side. Don't really have to worry about putting anything there to cover that. So we'll start this one up here. And this one we're putting on this inside edge of the wreath to cover that. And you know, they also have really pretty garlands at Michael's. So if you can't find a individual branch that you like, check out their garlands because you could easily use one of their garlands. I think they're like 6 feet, six feet or longer. And you could easily use one of those to wrap around to do your base greenery like we're doing here.
Andy, about how long is each branch that you're pinning on?
These are probably, I'd say 8 inches, 6, 8, 10 inches. They're a little bit different. They vary on the branch. There's like a real long one, a medium one, and a little shorter one. So probably like 6, 8, and 10 is about the length that you need. And if they're longer, I mean, they'll still work. You just won't need to pin on as many.
You used about 4 total branches. Oh. So Dondi, it looks like your front camera is frozen. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Let's see if we can get our resident IT in there. Okay, Rena, do you think that you could unmute her front camera?
Unfortunately, I cannot force her to unmute.
Okay, let me see if I can do it remotely.
Are we good?
There you go.
Yep, you were frozen for a little while, and so we missed just a little bit there, but I think you were just kind of repeating a lot of the same steps. So now we can hear you.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back. So the only thing that I'm doing now is I'm just going to take these 4 little picks that I found, and we're pinning them in the same way. And the only reason I bought these or wanted these is just for another texture, because sometimes that's, you know, it's not really a different color, it kind of blends in, but it adds texture, and that's sometimes just as fun as adding color. So go ahead and pin that on, and I would definitely glue it in again if you need to. Hide the pin with some pine there. And these 2, you're going to give them a little bend, so you want them to bend with the curve of your wreath. And I wouldn't worry about taking that stem off. You can just kind of bury it in there. It'll hide in there. So you want to space them out so that they're evenly spaced, about around your wreath. Put a little pin in there and glue it in place, keep it tight. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, how that makes that little bit of extra texture in there. This one, again, you're just going to kind of bend it to kind of go with your wreath. And we'll pop him in here. And find a spot to pin him. Glue it in place. How are we going so far? Am I going slow enough? You guys need me to repeat anything? See something again?
Very good. Couple questions. So one is, what are the U-pins called? Are there other names for those?
Absolutely, they're called, I've heard them called S pins because if you look, they have, can you guys see? They have like a little, there it is, a little S. So sometimes they're called S pins. They're called greening pins because they pin like mosses and such to foam or whatever you're pinning moss to. Let's see. Michael's does call them greening pins, but floral pins, S pins, U pins.
One viewer had a really good idea about potentially adding essential oils to your wreath to make it scented. Would that cause any damage?
Nice. No, absolutely not. That would be nice. That'd be a great addition. Then you'd have texture and smell. I mean, come on. The florals that I just bought, I was just at Michael's yesterday, and I don't have a Michael's close. My closest Michael's is an hour and a half away, which is kind of sad. But I was in there yesterday, and I bought florals for a February class, and brought them out of the bag this morning, and I could smell peppermint because Michael smells so much like peppermint. Must have been candles or something in there. So, yeah. But it smelled like Christmas.
I was gonna say, smells like Christmas. So Danny, if you could just remind everybody how many of the long branches you used.
The base pine, the cedar pine, there were four branches or four stems of the cedar. And that's what we put around the base of the wreath. And then these here, the little picks, I just put in 4 of those. Oh, my leaf took off.
Do you have any other suggestions for different types of Christmas flowers that you could use?
Sure. They had, trying to think of some of the things that I saw there. In their seasonal, they had some really pretty, they had really pretty hydrangea. They had some really pretty roses. Some of the big, maybe they were like a mum, maybe like I guess a spider mum, that were really pretty. I saw there.
Did you see any like poinsettias?
Sure, poinsettia would be gorgeous in there. Yeah, I mean, because there's only the one and it's your focal flower, I think you can pick your favorite flower and put it in there. Doesn't have to coordinate with anything, right? It's all by itself. All right, so the next thing I did was add in all these cool wispy pine cone branches. And again, all I did was cut them off the stem, and I'm going to use them individually around the wreath.
Dandy, what type of foam are you using and what size for this wreath again?
This is our green extruded foam wreath. It's a 14-inch wreath. And what's nice about this wreath is it's not very wide, so it's really easy to cover. You don't have a big base to cover. And this nice green color camouflage is really nice with this greenery.
And I know you're not pinning in every pin for this demo, but if you were to put it on a door, you'd want to do that.
Yes, for sure. The pins don't have any texture on them. They're just smooth pins. So they can wiggle out of the foam. I mean, the foam does hold them really nice, but they can wiggle out if they get bumped around enough. So with these, just like we did the little pine picks, I just added these in for some color and some texture. And some movement. So when this does get in the wind or the door opens and closes, you have a little movement, and I kind of like that in a wreath too. And you're just gonna let them just kind of hang around. They kind of do what they want. They're wired at the base, but then the tips are just that wispy end. But that's kind of what I liked about them. They just kind of do their own thing.
Danny, it looks like you're pinning all of your branches on in the same direction around the wreath. Is that important?
Well, yeah, in this particular case, yes, because you're layering. So from where one stops, then you're starting again. So yeah, all kind of in the same direction. It's just kind of I guess the style of wreath that I decided to make. The sky, we can bring him right up here. And bring some to the back, like to the back edge. You don't need them all right around the face of the wreath, and that'll give you a little depth and dimension.
If you wanted to add any more accessories like bells or other embellishments, would you glue them on or would you pin those on as well?
I guess that depends on what you're putting on. If you're gonna put ornaments on, just large round ornaments, I would glue them in. But if you're gonna put any more stems in, if you can slide it in like that and it feels like it's pretty tough, like there's enough in there to grab, you can really glue these in too. That would be fine. And one thing I might mention, if you are making this and you do, at the end, we're going to show you a way to kind of swap this look out and give it a new look, transition it from like winter to, well, I guess it would still be winter, maybe like closer to New Year's. You might not want to glue all this stuff in because it'll be easier to get back apart. Well, that one I kind of like laying right there. And sometimes, especially with this one, I mean, if I wasn't on camera, I would have this sitting up in front of me on a stand so that you can look at it, because when when you have the wreath up, all of these hang different. They're all gonna kind of want to kind of hang. And when it's laying down like this, I can't really tell what they're gonna do. But when you make it, if you can have it on a stand or something, it's a lot easier to position stuff.
Or you could just build it right on your door.
There you go. Sure. Yeah, get you an extension cord for your glue gun and have at it. All right, looks like we have one more of these to cut off. Like I said, I did jump on Michael's this morning, and I did find all this stuff on their website still. So I'll hold this up for a second. It's like maybe out here.
You can barely even see the wreath form.
Yeah, that's good.
Only from certain angles.
So yeah, see, that looks really unruly right there, but I think when we hang it, it'll come back down.
Do you have any tips for making this with live greenery?
I think if you used live greenery, you would make it exactly the same way. There's really wouldn't be any difference. You would cut sprigs of pine, you would use the greening pins to secure them to your wreath form. I think it would be the exact same. The only thing with that is you'd have to water it.
Who wants to do that?
Yep, and then at this point, you just go back through, fluff any of your greenery, hide your pins, do your final adjustments. And this wreath really will, you can hang it right on a nail on your wall. Just lay it right over top of the nail, or buy one of those larger 3M hooks that have the hook that sticks out a little further. I think they have them that they stick out from the wall like an inch and a half, and that would give enough of a hook to hang this wreath on. Is there any other questions do you guys have about this so far before I show you how to change it up a little? Want to show the front view and show a finished? Is there any questions?
What about adding snow to it? Do you have any tips for how to add snow?
I do have tips for adding snow. Let me find a snow maker.
One viewer also suggested adding battery lights, which is always my favorite tip.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with lights. I mean, really. That way everybody can see it all night long, all day long. And the glitter on this, all this stuff is glittered. It would be beautiful in there. Lights would be great. So with white styrofoam, I'm sorry, did I just say styrofoam? I did, I said it. I told myself I would not say it, and I said it. With white craft foam, one second. It's very easy to make your own very realistic snow. So if you just take 2 pieces and you grind them together, you are making snow. So if you take this snow and you add a little glitter to it, it makes like perfect little realistic snow. It's the most realistic snow that I've seen. And then it just, if you put a little spray glitter on or spray glue on here and just sprinkle it on. Can't hardly see it on camera, but it's there. So that's one way to make snow. And like I said, you can add glitter to it. It'd be really cute. All right, so you've had this wreath up for a while and it's great and it's beautiful and you want to kind of change it up. So all these beautiful little pine branch or pine cone branches that we put in, I'm gonna pop out. And I'm gonna show you another look. And this could kind of take you from December right through January, right into Valentine's Day.
Oh, Dottie, you just got a nice hair comment. I think that your new curling iron just paid for itself.
Thank you. Yeah, my curling iron died this morning, so I had to call Jamie and say, my curling iron died. I have to run to the store and get one. You know, of course, it has to happen on live video day, right? So yeah, I got to curl my hair at work today. That was different. Well, I say curl it. It's not curling. I'm straightening it because my hair is really curly. All right. So while I was running around Michael's, I found these cool, they're like little snowy pom-pom things. They have a little bit of snow on them. It's like a paper branch, but these little guys are like little snowy pom-poms. So I grabbed 3 of those, and then I grabbed 3 of these white snowy branches. Aren't those pretty? They look like they have like a really heavy flocking on them. So I'm going to start with this frosted branch. And just like we did before, I don't want this whole great big branch. So I am going to cut these apart. Oh, and I want to tell you guys too, while I was at Michael's, I saw these other cutters, and I don't know if you have trouble cutting the stems on any of this stuff. These said 2 times more powerful. So, I mean, I had to check it out, right? And it's true. They really do cut the stems really nice and really easy. So if you have trouble cutting any of these stems, this makes it a lot easier than some of these heavier ones.
Wow, that looks so easy with those.
It's a lot better. I mean, I had to try them. I'm like 2 times more powerful. Let's see. And they're really good. They have a pretty good price tag. I think they were, close your ears, Jamie, $29.
Hey, that's worth it if it cuts those so easily.
Yeah, I think so.
Saves your hands.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, for the people watching, maybe they thought, well, I'd like to try those, but that's kind of so now you know. The extra money's worth it because they do really work.
And what are they called? Are they just wire cutters as well?
They're compound action cutter, they say, 7.5 inch. So with these, we're layering these branches in just like we did everything else. You know, kind of where one leaves off, you kind of add another. So we're just going to layer these in. And like this one has 2 on it. And that's okay. Just let one kind of fall off. But I would just kind of tuck that base in. Tuck the base of the stem down inside that cedar, that base pine that we put down. And just let those branches kind of be kind of fun.
Are these branches wired too, or just the base of them?
Just the base. They're not really wired too much. They have a little bit that comes up just this little stem, but this up here, none of this is wired. So they kind of do their own thing too, which is fine. My little leaf keeps, I'm gonna pin this leaf again because it keeps wanting to turn sideways on me. There.
It almost looks like coral, like a coastal Christmas theme.
Isn't it yummy? I just thought these were really pretty, and they just really add, I mean, it just makes it instant winter. Letting those kind of stick out, and I would let them just kind of let them fall out and kind of go outside the ring. Let them stick out a little bit, give you some dimension and some interest. And just don't forget to go on the outside edges too, because you know, people are seeing this wreath from all sides. You don't want them to look at a bare spot.
Can't have that.
No. Stick something there. And just go down until you find foam. And you should probably be gluing these pins in if you think they're gonna be bopped around. I'm just cutting off these branches. You know, I mean, this stem is really cool too, and I didn't throw my other one away. I know it's kind of weird, but I think they'd make really good like topiary stems. If you make your own like winter topiaries and you need a, you know, instead of painting a dowel, or, I mean, it's a realistic looking branch, and it's really, really heavily flocked. I hate to throw it away. So just an idea, if you make topiaries and you need a stem, that would make a good one.
That's a good idea.
I'm gonna tuck one down here by the flower. Let him kind of hang out. And all you're doing is just trying to get them evenly spaced around the ring. Just so that you have a little bit of white peeking out everywhere. And you might have to use a couple pins to keep them where they need to be. Definitely want to glue them in place if it's going to get bopped around. Any other questions? Everybody's kind of quiet.
They're mesmerized by how beautiful this wreath is.
That could be. Is everybody decorated for Christmas? I finally put my tree up last weekend.
I know, I think I mention it to my husband like every day. Can we bring the tree up now? Not yet.
Not yet. Well, it's funny because it was kind of opposite at my house. My husband and my son said, let's put the tree up, let's put the tree up, but then when it came right down to it, I put the tree up while they watched.
Of course.
So, yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. You said let's put the tree up. That's plural.
I think the longer we wait, the less chance our 2-year-old will pull it down.
Or the cat.
Cat.
Yep. My cat used to love to sleep under the tree. I think it was warm under there with the lights. And there's a fuzzy tree skirt that she thinks she enjoyed. So it looks like I'm getting it pretty branched up. What do you guys think?
It's nice.
Filling in?
Lots of love in the chat for this wreath.
Yay! So yeah, so there's a little bit of white, a little bit more texture, a little bit fun going on, but you know, there could be more, right? We could do more. So I'm gonna take this guy and cut him apart. And these actually can be glued in because they don't really have a stem, very big stem, and they're super lightweight. So I think they would be perfectly safe. I mean, they weigh nothing. So I think they'd be perfectly safe just to add a little glue and stick them in wherever you think you need them.
They almost look like little berries, little
Yeah, I
snowberries.
think they're called like snowberries or something online.
They're fun.
So all I did was, again, evenly spaced all around the wreath. Let them poke out wherever you want them to poke out, some by the flower here. Wherever you think you need a little more texture and a little more white. And don't forget your outside edge. So you got some around every corner. When people are looking at your wreath, they see something pretty on every side. And then this wreath comes in white too. So if you wanted a little, if you wanted to use the white wreath and leave a little of that white wreath show through, it might kind of look like you're building it on snow. Might be kind of pretty.
Dondi, when you add the glue to the branch, are you sticking it to the foam base or are you sticking it to the other branches?
Just anywhere. It can go right in. It can.
Uh-oh. I think we lost her again. One second. Looks like our IT's on it. They're gonna get her back in. And then Jordan, if you could just unmute her.
Again?
There we go. Yep, you froze up again. I know we've done so many of these and this is the first time we've had any issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you said.
I said, is there any just general foam questions that I can answer? I've been playing with foam now for like 24 years. So if you have any questions about anything things you can do with foam or use on foam or.
Why did you choose this type of foam for this wreath?
Ask another question. No, I'm just kidding. Because this is the only green wreath that Michael's has in their floral department right now. So like last wreath I did, I used a white XPS foam or craft foam wreath, just because it was big enough to do the project that I was doing. But this is also a really good wreath for this project because it's so narrow. Like I said, the face of it is so narrow that it's really easy to hide it. You don't have a great big thick face to cover up. And it's sturdy. It holds up good outdoors, our extruded wreaths.
So just a quick reminder to everyone that this class is being recorded. So if you missed a step or want to go back and watch it again, it will be up on Michael's YouTube channel and also on their website in about 24 to 48 hours.
And their YouTube channel is lots of fun. I don't know, I mean, you guys all know about it because you're watching this, right? But yeah, it's, you can get in there and get stuck in there. It's like, oh, is that how they do that? Oh, I gotta watch that one. I gotta know how they do that.
You're all staying home a little more these days, so there's lots of fun activities and ideas to pass the time, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wanna do that. I wanna do that resin. That resin pour just sounds like should make some really beautiful things with that. All right, guys. Looks like I have all my whites in. Looks like everything's filled in pretty evenly.
Sandy, this is kind of a fun question. Do you remember when you first started what your very first foam project was that you made?
Actually, I do. A couple that I remember. One, I did this giant, we had to do a new cover for our catalog, and they wanted foam projects. So I did this really cool, like 3 feet tall, 2.5, 3 feet tall birdhouse with this swoopy little roof. And it was all made out of foam. It had little heart windows cut on it. I made like a rocky path around it and a little heart-shaped door, and that was lots of fun. I actually did 2 of the birdhouses, and those were on the cover of the catalog. And then one of the other ones were just, we used to do this, it's called loopy chenille, and it was like giant pipe cleaners with wires in them. I think they actually they sell it in little links, I think at Michael's. I don't know what they call it, jumbo chenille, I think they call it. But we used to make cute little duckies and bunnies and bears and cute little animals with that fuzzy little chenille stuff. So I made a few little fuzzy animals.
I'm surprised you remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, actually, I must have really enjoyed making that birdhouse because it still sits over there in front of the studio next to the studio door. So I never threw it away.
All right, do you want to hold it up and show the final wreath?
Sure. Oh, looks like I could add some little, where is it? Over there somewhere. Anyway, you get the idea. Fill them in, make sure they're evenly spaced. And then, I mean, you could add some fun things. You could add, I saw this little, these little bells at FloraCraft. Where am I? Michael's. So if you added those, might be kind of fun. A little sound for your wreath. Or if you wanted to add a little sparkle, you could add some ornaments in there. Or I even found some of these little birds. If you wanted to find any little birds and put a couple little birds in there, that'd be cute too.
All right.
All right. I guess if we don't have any more questions.
All set.
All right. Thanks so much for making it fun with FloraCraft. We'll catch you next time. Stay safe.